Boyfriend vanished on the eve of our vacation, his bike parked outside his door, leaving me fearing the worst. My boyfriend and I have been dating for a little over 6 months, and we have both been really busy with work, and his dad has recently been sick, so we haven't gotten to see each other as often these last 5 to 6 weeks. So about a month ago we decided to plan a vacation during a national holiday that is going on right now. We both are early in our careers and don't make much, but we decided to use a bit of savings and fly to a nearby country and have a beach vacation, stay in some hotels, swim and the lot. We've both been so excited for this trip. He's planned most of the general stuff, which days and times we should fly. He booked all the hotels. We were going to go back and forth between some islands, and messaging me almost every day this week with weather updates and things we could do. I have been super busy with work but cut out some time earlier this week to make a more in-depth schedule so we could make the most out of our vacation and to book some stuff for us to do to ensure we would have tickets. It was all going perfectly, we were both clearly excited and had spent a good amount of money. I know he already spent at least $1,000 booking stuff, so he was very invested. Plus he is the one who initially came up with the plan and invited me. Here's where the story turns. Keep in mind our flight is at 9:10 this morning, the 30th, so we had loose plans to meet near my street and get a taxi at 7:30. Yesterday the 29th I have Wi-Fi issues at my apartment, so I don't get a good morning message. When we first started dating I kind of found these a bit annoying, but I've grown to love them so much, and I know it means a lot to him that I say good morning back, so I try my best to respond within a few hours. So I go to a coffee shop and see that he hasn't messaged me, which I find a little weird, but I take the opportunity to be the one to say good morning first, something I very rarely get to do since he works a 9 to 5 and I'm remote, and I get to work on my latest project and don't think too much of it. Then a little later I send him the latest ideas for our trip and ask if he's bringing any nicer clothes if we want to do a slightly fancier dinner one night. No response. This man is always on his phone. He responds so fast sometimes it gives me whiplash, and it's been hours and nothing. But I know Hess at work and I feel a little crazy for even thinking anything of it. I accidentally leave him for hours sometimes because I'm not as attached to my phone, so it's not a big deal if he doesn't respond quickly, but it is weird for him. A few hours later I send him a booking confirmation. No response. I finish my work and go home. Then 5:30 rolls around, and I know he should be off work. I message him again and no response. An hour later I message again because I'm getting worried he isn't messaging back the night before our flight. No response. I call him a couple times and he doesn't pick up, so by 7/7:30 I'm stressing out, and I walk over to his apartment, a 5 minutes walk from mine. His bike is outside his door, but I knock for 20-ish min, and no response. I'm trying to come up with excuses. Maybe he had to work super late? He's at dinner? His phone is dead or broken? I go home and just pack and go to sleep. This morning still nothing. We plan to leave at 7:30, so I get ready as I would have and try calling him a few times. At 7:30 I go out to the street corner where we normally have met before and wait. To get to the airport in time to check in we have to leave by 8 o'clock at the absolute latest. I message and call him the whole time and nothing. At 8:01 I head to his apartment again. I'm pounding on the door, calling him, there is nothing, no response. His shoes are there that I can see, his bike outside unmoved from the day before. We have missed our flight, so I request a refund on the site while literally sitting against his door. I miraculously got the refund BTW, and I cancel any bookings I made, all of which went through. So I'm super sad about missing our vacation, but I want to emphasize that I'm not mad about the money. I was able to get it back. I'm scared at this point. He's been the perfect boyfriend. He brought flowers to my place when I got sick. He is always on time to pick me up for our dates. He plans things for us. We've never fought. I don't even think I've ever seen him annoyed with me, and I'm super annoying. The last time I saw him, the 24th? His last words to me were I love you like 3 times, and then when I left me messaged that he loved being with me, and then later I got a goodnight message. Cut to today and suddenly it's radio silence. Nothing. I'm crying at this point and accept that he's probably not home or I would have heard him, so I go home and just cry and get pizza and wine and message him approximately 100 million times, and try to call and nothing. I haven't met his family yet, so I don't have their contacts. I've met a couple of his friends and workmates in passing but didn't think to get any of their numbers. Why would I? I know the buildings where he works but not where his office is or the name of the company. It's not my native language and names are really hard for me to remember, so he might have told me but I forgot if he did. My point is that I have no way of contacting him. If he is in the hospital or something, no one is going to think to call me. It's the evening of the 30th as I'm tying this. I recently got back from his apartment again and his bike hasn't moved. I taped a message to his door to call me, and my contact info for anyone who goes to his apartment in case someone else might know what happened. I can't think of anything else to do and I'm terrified and crying, constantly thinking the worst. I'm trying to think of what could possibly be happening. He takes his bike everywhere but it's outside his apartment unmoved. He spent a lot of money on tickets for this trip and then didn't show. Where I live you need your phone to use taxis and metros and such, and there are charging ports and repair shops everywhere, so even if his phone died the 29th or broke it would be fine by now. My best idea is that there was some sort of family emergency? Maybe with his dad who is sick, that he had to go early on the 29th to see them, and after he got there he lost his phone and has been super crazy with family stuff that he hasn't had the bandwidth to go get a new phone. He also just has my contact saved and doesn't have my number memorized. We use WeChat, so he wouldn't be able to contact me on another phone. I've cried more today than in the past year. Please tell me other things I can try, or other excuses for why he isn't responding and didn't go on the trip. I'm so scared. When I was at his apartment door tonight, all I could think is what if he fell and hit his head and Hess on the other side of this door dead. But I'm not about to go full crazy and call the cops. Though I'm considering it at this point. Because the image won't leave my head and something is wrong, I can feel it. Please help me. Update 1. He's not dead. Okay, so it's been a crazy night. For everyone asking why I hadn't already gone to the cops, it had only been a day and a half and I live in a very safe place, so I didn't want to overreact. People have always told me I blow stuff up, so I'm very cautious about it now. I know I probably should have gone earlier though. Anyway, I left my house and tried to find a police station, but all I could find were traffic violation stations. So I called in, even though I have the speech capabilities of an 11-year-old in Chinese, and told them what was going on. There was a nice woman on the phone and she was very helpful and patient and sent over some officers to meet me and help me. They immediately take my case very seriously, but I still have the problem of not really having much info to give them. They asked if I had a picture of his ID and I was like, no? And so it took them a long time to find his record in the system. They were ready to go with me to do a house check, but then they got an update on the system and asked if I was okay going with them to the station, and I of course was. So I get there and they ask me a few more questions like if we were fighting, no we weren't, etc. Then the officers who I'm talking to get a bit nervous and one types something into his phone and shows me a translation, and it says, your boyfriend was arrested 2 days ago. I felt so many emotions and I'm still reeling. I barely slept last night and I have been worried, sick and crying all day, and so I'm relieved that Hess fine. Hess not dead or hurt or sick or in a coma or something. But at the same time, Hess fucking arrested? I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, quite frankly. They couldn't tell me why he was arrested because the case isn't closed, but they took down my number and said they'd call me. But yeah. I'm so exhausted from this whole ordeal. Since I know people will ask, he's a great guy, a very nice person. He does, however, have very little regard for rules and regulations. He is an asshole driver on his bike and often cuts off cars. Also, he's not an angry person ever, but I can kind of seeing him getting in a fight if there's a good reason, at least in his own mind. I know he once got in an altercation with someone early in our relationship for cursing out his mother. But both of those mean you are held in custody until they figure out the case. If it's just a minor traffic violation or a fight, he'll be out in a few days, and probably pay a fine. If it's something worse, well then maybe I shouldn't be seeing him anyway. Anyway, thanks for everyone who commented, and made me feel like I wasn't overreacting or being a crazy girlfriend. I'll update if I ever find out what he did. Edit/update, the more I think about it, he had to have been arrested early on Tuesday. So probably not a fight or anything, maybe something he was caught on camera for? Edit, when I say he has little regard for rules, I mean compared to me, it's very typical here. Bikes are illegal in this city, so I'm told, and yet I almost get hit by one daily. Jaywalking is illegal and yet he and everyone else does it all the time. Also, you can get held in custody for very minor things, which is why I haven't blacklisted him quite yet. Like once a guy yelled slurs at a group of my friends and called my black friend the N-word, and the police detained him for 3 days for disturbing the peace. Not saying my BF would do that, but you can get detained for parking tickets. Update 2. You guys. I have no words for the last 48 hours, but I promised an update and there is absolutely no way I could just move on from this with a simple thanks. We'll update if I hear more. Buckle up. Also, apparently I can blow things up because now my life feels like a straight up Netflix show, so after my last update, I basically camped out by my phone. Refreshed old texts. Checked WeChat like every 10 seconds. I slept less than 2 hours, mostly just staring at the wall wondering if my boyfriend was roofing it with Triad members or plotting some grand Ocean's 11 heist I never knew he was capable of. Spoiler, not the case, but that honestly wouldn't have been the craziest outcome. But mid-morning, the police actually call me back. For the record, never not chills when you see unknown number after your boyfriend's arrest. The woman is super polite and says there's a possibility I might be able to see him. Reader, I nearly collapse right there. I rush over, sweating, panicking, feeling both like a supportive girlfriend and like I'm about to be part of a true crime docuseries. After a ton of waiting, I finally get taken to a little interview room to talk to his public defender. Honestly, the guy looks exhausted, like public defenders the world over. And he's just tired, but he actually speaks English and he explains the situation. My boyfriend, in a nutshell, is a complete absolute legend but also a moron. Turns out, he was arrested for being in the wrong place at the wrong time but making it far, far worse, because of a cat. I am 100% serious. Here's the full chaos, as pieced together from the lawyer, police, and, finally, my boyfriend's retelling. He was on his way home from work Tuesday, cutting through a construction site, shortcut, when he saw a stray kitten caught on a piece of netting. Apparently he's been feeding cats there for months, and didn't tell me because I'm allergic. Not that allergic, dude. He climbs the fence to free it, but a worker freaks out and yells. He startles, tries to hurry, gets stuck on the netting, cat claws him, screams, drops the cat, and then the worker calls security because a foreign man is stealing equipment and harassing animals. So security calls the police. But it gets worse. As my boyfriend is trying to explain, 3 more construction workers surround him, convinced he's some kind of thief. He panics, tries to show his ID, but then one of the security guys, who is actually the building owner's cousin, gets in his face and blocks him from leaving. A scuffle happens, a minor one, but apparently he pushed the guy, which is technically public disturbance and battery. The police arrive right then and find my boyfriend, with a torn shirt, scratched arms, netting in his pocket, surrounded by shouting men. He tries to explain, again, very limited Chinese, also panicking, also meowing at the kitten, and ends up sounding extra suspicious. They cuff him. He gets carted off, his phone's in his backpack, which gets left behind in the chaos, so he has no way to contact me. He's in lockup 2 nights, but the police have his ID, muddy shoes, blood from the cat, and he keeps insisting, in semi-gibberish, no, I animal friend. Not thief. Until they finally piece it together. But here's the kicker, the building owner is a serious cat hater and pushes charges, so the police hold him while they try to mediate. Meanwhile no one knows to call me, the only number in their system is his mom's, who is in the hospital with his dad. The dad's illness seems unrelated, thank God. Yesterday, his lawyer gets the footage from a nearby camera, and the kitten runs away completely unharmed. I am told, multiple times, kitten runs free, which saved his ass. They finally let him go this morning with a small fine for trespassing and a stiff warning about public conduct. I am told he was the laughingstock at the station for 2 days, and the notes in his file simply say cat incident, foreigner, confusion. The universe's sense of humor is strong. He texted me, apologetically. Profusely, as soon as he got his phone back. It was at the police station, apparently, and I basically ran to his apartment, where we hugged/laughed/cried for 3 hours straight. We are eating leftover pizza and laughing about how at least our first vacation as a couple was an adventure. And that never, ever again will either of us leave for a trip without making sure, A, our emergency contacts are set up and, B, under literally no circumstances will he attempt cat rescue missions in government construction sites. His arms look like he tried and failed at a knife-throwing show, cat claws. He also kept the torn shirt as a souvenir because of course he did. We're sending a fruit basket, and apology note, to the owner next week, and, per his request, we're going to the animal shelter to see if the kitten ended up there. My head feels like it's still spinning, and I suspect I'll need a year of therapy to not break down if he's late for a text, but we're okay. Not dead, not fighting, not criminals, technically. We're postponing our trip. Maybe next time we'll just do a staycation. Maybe with a house cat. Thank you again, Reddit, for talking me off the ledge, making me laugh, and being the weird surrogate family I never knew I'd need during Operation Boyfriend MIA. If anyone needs advice on what not to do when your partner vanishes, hit me up. I'll update if there's a kitten reunion. Otherwise, please send us luck and maybe a little less excitement. Update 3. The saga continues, featuring an angry cat owner, international embassies, and the most unlikely detective work of my entire life. It's been another wild 48 hours and now I have an actual stack of notes because, 1, if I don't write this stuff down, my brain will short circuit. 2, I am starting to suspect I might be living in a sitcom. Buckle up again because even Netflix doesn't plot stories this convoluted. Yesterday, less than 8 hours after my last post and the pizza/crying reunion, my boyfriend gets an official-looking letter. Hand-delivered. English on one side, Chinese on the other. The building owner from Catgate is not letting this go. He's claiming damages to property, loss of business, and stress due to foreign interference. His words, not mine. I had to look up the translation for foreign interference and when I did, I nearly choked on my soup. For 5 hours, my boyfriend is basically mini-lawyering himself to oblivion, Googling local laws, calling any friend who can spell lawyer, and stress eating every snack within a 5-meter radius. Then, his phone vibrates off the table and it's a blocked number. He answers, on speaker. It's the police. Again. But, they're actually polite and say that a mutual mediation session has been scheduled for Thursday, today, in the neighborhood police office. He needs to bring proof of payment for his fine, his ID, and, if possible, an interpreter. Cut to us desperately texting his one friend from work who can translate legalese, and she agrees to help us out if we buy her a fancy coffee and promise never to involve her in cat-related crimes again. Cue this morning, we show up early, over-prepared, clutching every receipt like they're Wonka tickets. It's us, translator friend, 2 uniformed cops, the cat nemesis building owner, that's what I call him now, and, wait for it, someone from the local government animal protection office. Apparently, after the story trickled out, and, okay, after I made the tiniest, most anxious social media post about animal rescue being criminalized, someone at the city's animal office took interest and decided to mediate. Their stance, he potentially saved a life. The building owner's stance, he trespassed and ruined a business meeting? The guy claimed he missed a vital call because of the chaos. And then, just when I'm resigning myself to a months-long legal slap fight, Cat Nemesis produces security cam screenshots of my boyfriend dangling upside down from netting, looking like a weird Marvel audition, and says, "How will my business partners trust me with this happening here?" My boyfriend's mouth literally drops open. I'm trying so hard not to laugh/cry/panic. Animal protection person points out, you can see the kitten clearly, the timestamp matches, and, best part, a minute after the chaos screenshot, the business partners, 3 guys in suits, walk into view and laugh at everything before heading inside. The entire meeting devolves into arguing over whether rescued street cats are legal wildlife. Pro tip: no, if trespassing is justified. Conclusion: no, unless life is threatened, and whether or not my boyfriend owes Cat Nemesis the cost of a new net. Spoiler, he does. It was $9 US. In the end, my boyfriend pays the damage fee, signs a mediation agreement, gets a lecture on local customs, and the animal protection guy actually hands him an official city badge sticker for next time. If you find a cat in danger, call us, not yourself. He stuck it on our fridge, but wait, there's more. As we're leaving, a random older man waves us down in the parking lot. It's one of the construction workers from that day, and he's holding, yes, the actual kitten. He recognized us from the saga, saw my semi-viral social media post, and tells us he'd been feeding it since the cat incident and the Americans can take her if they want. My boyfriend, obviously, is overwhelmed, and a bit teary. We end up carrying home a tiny orange tabby in a cardboard box that previously held paintbrushes. Her name is now Noodle because, in the words of my boyfriend, she went limp just like overcooked noodles when I rescued her. Not technically true, but we're rolling with it. Reader, we are now cat owners. But, yes, somehow this is still not the end. The international office at his company got wind of the arrest through police paperwork, standard, and called the embassy, and now he has to attend a compliance seminar next week on cross-cultural legal awareness because, and I quote, "We want our foreign staff not to end up on police records for feline-related misunderstandings." On the plus side, we have 2 weeks paid time off to resolve personal matters, courtesy of his extremely flustered HR manager. So, here we are, my boyfriend is not dead, injured, or, thank God, a master criminal. Our trip is postponed, for real, this time. I told him I'm only going anywhere near an airport if 3 people know my itinerary and I'm handcuffed to my luggage. The stray kitten is now curled up against my laptop, purring in a way that makes it impossible to stay mad about any of this. I am, officially, the poster child for why you get emergency contacts and learn your partner's HR email, and, fun fact, we have 500,000 views on my accidental bring cats, not crime Twitter thread about all this, and local media wants to interview my heroic boyfriend. He wants to decline, but after everything, I'm tempted to share the CCTV screenshot of him, upside down, looking like Spider-Man's dorky cousin, as retaliation. I still haven't fully processed the last week or what my life is anymore, but honestly, we're safe, the cat is safe, and I am never letting anyone go off-grid around a national holiday ever again. If you need us, we'll be at home teaching ourselves how to say not stealing, just rescuing cats in 5 languages, prepping for the world's weirdest HR seminar, and making sure Noodle doesn't eat my passport. Reddit, thanks for holding my virtual wine glass through this chaos. If things somehow get weirder, you'll hear about it. Otherwise, wish us luck, calm, and a future filled with very boring, predictable vacations, and 0 more missing person/cat detainment stories. TL:DR, boyfriend's cat rescue crime nearly escalates to international incident, but we now have a cat and 2 weeks off work, and will never underestimate the power of a well-placed city badge sticker. Update 4. Okay, normally I'd say there's no way this can top last time, but the universe was like, challenge accepted. Reddit, let's just acknowledge that my life has officially become the side plot in a Hangover prequel, and I own that now. Remember how we had 2 weeks off for personal matters, a new kitten, and a peace agreement with all possibly offended parties? Silly me thought this would be the week I just Netflix binge and drink herbal tea. Ha! Instead, here's what's now happened, in the most I can't even make this up sequence of events yet, starting at 7 a.m. on the first day of our staycation. My boyfriend's cross-cultural legal awareness seminar has been rebranded as a Foreign National Community Relations and Crisis Resolution Training. Catchy, right? Which, turns out, means his entire expat office is now required to attend. We all get little visitor passes and free sticky buns. I'm mostly there for moral support, and also because I think someone at work is suspicious he secretly runs an international stray cat syndicate now. A half hour in and this police officer turns out to be an absolute legend, narrating anecdotes about all the ridiculous things foreigners have been detained for: animal rescue, swimming in fountains, renting a moped without the right app, and, direct quote, attempting to purchase street fish at 2 a.m. from unlicensed vendors. I am dying trying not to laugh. My boyfriend is so mortified he sinks halfway into his plastic chair. Then, the officer, apparently reading my viral post, brings up a certain cat in a netting and the whole room bursts out laughing, recognizing my boyfriend's mug from the screenshots. The HR manager pulls me aside to ask if we'll host a responsible pet care workshop for company morale. I haven't even processed this before. A local breaking news station messages me, they slid into my DMs, not kidding, and asks if we'd come talk about cat rescue in modern urban China. After some back and forth, and a promise Noodle won't be interview bait, we agree. Turns out the host herself owns 6 rescue cats and wants to meet my boyfriend, the Cat Avenger. She also wants exclusive rights to the upside down security footage, which my boyfriend now refers to as his Marvel origin story. The segment is 5 minutes of pure chaos, mostly because while we are getting prepped, Noodle escapes her little carrier and disappears inside the studio, behind a bunch of extension cords and sound equipment. Cue every staff member crawling on the floor with flashlights, the heroic cat guy tears streaming down as he tries hear kitty kitty in 3 languages, and the host Liv narrating the situation for the broadcast audience, unforeseen animal difficulties. I realize, just as we're halfway through this debacle, that Noodle isn't lost. She's made a soft pillow fort inside a soundproofing panel and is fluffy and purring. The host, a real cat whisperer, extracts her and gifts us a year's supply of Noodle rescue cat treats. Yes, she's named them after our cat, and the packaging has my boyfriend's awkward mugshot giving a thumbs up. This is our life now. We get an invitation, hand-delivered again, truly, the paper trail is something, to the cat nemesis's house, a gesture of reconciliation. I nearly faint just thinking about it, but we go, bearing a fruit basket and a peace lily. His wife is lovely, cat nemesis is a little intense but weirdly gracious, and just when we think we've survived, his toddler granddaughter appears and demands to see the superhero that rescued Kitty. Turns out she saw the footage and is convinced my boyfriend can leap tall buildings. He proceeds to let her climb him like a jungle gym, and cat nemesis, stone-faced in every previous meeting, almost smiles. Almost. Here's the wildest part, cat nemesis tells us, after a toast, that he was most angry not about the cat, but about not being prepared for a rescue in my own building. He then confesses he's secretly allergic to cats himself and hands us a bag. It's the remaining scraps of the infamous netting, in case you make her a superhero cape. Reader, we did. Reader, it was orange and terrible and Noodle wore it for 2 seconds before flopping over like melting cheese. But she is now, officially, Catwoman. Or Cat Noodle. So, remember how his HR got the embassy involved? Well, someone there flagged our catastrophe for a monthly expat advisory email and now, for 3 days straight, we get emails from random embassies and consulates with subject lines like, animal welfare while abroad. Local fines for animal rescue, and if you get arrested, call us, not your girlfriend first. The American consulate leaves a voicemail, laughing, asking if we'll join living safely as an expat Zoom next week as guest speakers. That's a real sentence I just wrote. Also, several local charities have started tagging us in their Adopt, Don't Shop campaigns, and Noodle has a fan account now. I have no idea who runs it. Here's the part where we almost return to normal life. The HR manager, abashed about everything, tells my boyfriend, you can take your beach holiday now if you book before next month. On us, yes, they're reimbursing all our lost travel costs. Yes, our accommodations are now fully paid, by his company, if we promise to use the trip to relax and recover from recent stressful events, and document your experience for the company's WeChat blog. I have signed nothing in my life that felt more surreal. Except, here's the twist, the hotel emails to say their pet-friendly listing was actually an error, and cats are not allowed. So, instead of a chill vacation with Noodle, we end up, ready? Agreeing to house sit for cat nemesis's daughter while she's gone 3 days, meaning our beach vacation turns into a city penthouse stay, where we get to 1. Water bonsai trees, 2. Use a robot vacuum that terrifies Noodle but is now her mortal enemy, and 3. Write a reflection on emergency preparedness and the value of feline friendship for his company's blog to fulfill our HR requirements.